I'm going to deconstruct this glitch a little bit because it gets a little messy. But as you see, there's a sideways spring inside of this note block. The Bowser Jr. is stacked on top of this whole situation. When the scene starts, the sideways spring is going to bounce out of this note block and rest right here, and Bowser Jr. is going to slowly slide down this column. Check this out. He will stop at those red blocks and just sit there, not doing anything. Sideways springs, when they stay on enemies, they tend to freeze their animation. When I hit the on-off switch, he's just going to slowly slide down this column until he reaches the bottom of it. I've never seen anything quite like this before. This is pretty interesting. Once he hits the bottom here, he will fall right down until he dies. Here we have yet another interesting little clipping situation. This cannon right here, through the use of these note blocks, the one-ways, and these shells, it's going to clip into this note block right here when I start the scene. And then when I release this sideways spring up here, this shell is going to hit this note block right here, clipping this cannon through this wall. So notice how the cannon is kind of just stuck inside of that note block up there. And the other shell just kind of drops there onto the cloud. Let's hit this on-off switch. You're going to see this cannon go right through the wall. Bam. Oh, Nintendo, what are we going to do with you? With the usage of this twister right here, which is going to lift you up a little bit, this red block does crazy things to Cat and Mario. Let's show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to jump up here and just kind of walk into the corner. You're going to notice a lot of burn going. This is like the world's fastest burr setup. Now when he's doing this little slide animation here, I'm just going to start jumping, and I will go right through that red block. Like so, allowing me to progress through the level. Very interesting. Inside of this flying block right here, flying invisible block, is a mushroom. Now this spike ball is going to hit the flying block, and that's going to send the mushroom through this floor, but only if there is water or lava down here. So when I start the scene, you're going to see the mushroom automatically appear from the floor. Which is kind of cool here, but even more interesting when you don't know the setup. So when there's lava and you wouldn't understand what's going on, all you really see is the mushroom appear from the floor because you can't see underneath it. So this is much cooler. It's a way of producing a power-up from thin air. Here's another one of those hyperspeed setups. So with the process of this Podoboo erasing the coin, the frozen coin underneath it, these cannons get pushed underneath this muncher, and that's going to allow the muncher to float in midair. This one up is going to fall down, hit these note blocks, and it's going to send the muncher to the left, flying to the left in midair. It's going to pick up this cannon and reach over to the left side, and when it does, this one up hits the other note block over here, and it's going to get sent over back to the right. This is the first hyperspeed setup, which goes back and forth, which I think is really, really cool because you can activate it and deactivate it and reactivate it. So this is really, really interesting here. So as you see, the cannon goes back and forth. To the left, then back to the right. This could be a really cool minigame or troll setup in a level. Really, really interesting. Here we are going to create a diagonal thwomp, and as you guys probably know, thwomps either go to the right or left or straight up or down. They do not go diagonally unless a thwomp goes to the left and then a stump right here drags it down. As you see, this bomb right here is just to kill this chain chomp so that it's not annoying. We're going to jump on top of this dry bone right here, and then you're going to see a diagonal thwomp setup happen in front of your very eyes. Just jump right here. It drags the thwomp down at a diagonal, which is really, really cool. You can set this up automatically by dropping a sideways spring on it. So say, for example, we go like this. Sideways spring will activate the thwomp, sending it to the right and downward. Pretty cool. Here we have yet another one of these bumper clips. We're going to use Yoshi here to clip right through this bumper. I'm going to drop him on top of the dirt over here, and hopefully we'll be able to get right to that bumper when we duck jump on top of Yoshi. Are you ready? That's about where we want Yoshi to be placed. We're going to duck jump over there, and hopefully we clip through the bumper. There we are, right through the bumper. We got it. We did it, everyone. Because of these slopes, these cannons are going to get pushed up to the top right of this little section right here. The P-switch is going to get lifted, elevated, and go through this slope, pushing this cannon up here over to the left a little bit, crushing this bomb, and activating this on-off switch. This is all very interesting interactions. Check this out. Very interesting. How does that work, Nintendo? So at this point, you might be wondering, why are Lemmy balls coming out of that cannon up there? Really, it's not Lemmy balls coming out of the cannon. There are a whole bunch of big Lemmys that are stationed above the cannon on a rail. When they are on this rail in this orientation up here, their balls will actually go through the ceiling, but you will be none the wiser because you can't even see them at all. So I put 4 Lemmys. We could add more, obviously, but I put 4 Lemmys falling down on that rail, and collectively, they create this whole situation where balls come flying out of the ceiling like that. It's a pretty cool little setup like that, if I do say so myself. Here we have an amazing little glitch. You may or may not have noticed this before. If we are Big Mario and we are in a cloud, if I go on the ceiling and then hold right, he will stick to the top of the ceiling, which is super interesting. Same thing if I hold left, although this time he goes into a ducked state. I don't know why I've never noticed this before, but you do not have to hold up at all. You will stick to the ceiling. Very, very interesting.